Welcome to the Nagual Zone. I'm Anaam. You know, all of our experience, our life experience, is determined by this one factor. And this one factor isn't how educated one is, how smart one is, how wealthy one is, how much loved and popular one is, how spiritual you are, how many followers, and how you can pout, the ugliness, how ugly you are thinking you're beautiful. The injections and this thinking that none of that is determining your life experience. None of this is not only not determining your life experience, it is actively not even determining the quality of your life experience. There's only one factor, only one, and that is self-value. That's it. Self-value. That determines the quality of your life. If this is what you've got, if this is where you're at in your consciousness, I talked about NPCs and all that just recently in a video. You can check it out. If that's where you're at, then you are suffering from lack of self-value. So what will happen is you will get a lot of life experience. 99% of it will be horrible, and it will lead you down only one road. That road is self-destruction through loneliness. You know why? Because if you think that this is making you more beautiful, I had a friend of mine, I saw her after many years. She used to look absolutely beautiful. Nature gave her such good looks. Really, just beautiful lady. Met her after a long time, and guess what? And we did a Zoom call and I was shocked. I didn't say anything at that point because, it's not going to help. So I asked, oh, she would invest in, spend money, there's a lot of money into injecting chemicals into the most sensitive part of your body, the lips. Nature has designed women's lips to, they are the mating call. They really are. You kiss with your lips. And now in this hellscape, the controllers, the vampires, the horrific entities that run this show has convinced the more beautiful part of the species to become as ugly as they can be, and has convinced them that the uglier they become, the more beautiful they become. You may have noticed a pattern. I've said it many times over the years. In this hell world, simply flip everything around and you'll have the right side up. Just flip it around. You'll have the right side up. And everything is literally just inverted. That's all it is. There is no grand trick, no grand deception except the inversion deception. That's it. That's all that's happening. So she's spending all this money, my friend, getting injected, I can't imagine that it'd be a painless procedure, to look more ugly. And her very words were that when I look at myself in the mirror, I see a beautiful woman. I feel more beautiful. You know what question I asked her straight away after that? I asked her, how many times and for how long do you scroll on social media, especially TikTok and Instagram? What do you think the answer was? Self-value. All life experience is being determined by that one factor. If you have worked, and you'll have to work at it, and it won't take just 1 week, it won't take just 1 month, it won't take reading a few self-help books and listening to podcasts whilst you go to sleep, feeling nice. It won't take 1 year. It will take a very, very, very long time before you can cross that threshold of self-value, the minimum threshold of self-value. For some people, depending on their past and where they've been and where they are at now, like you are starting this and calling it beautiful, looking like a washerwoman. You know, these days the fashion of footwear is those horrible flip-flops. All the women are wearing with their toes sticking out. They look like it's a washerwoman, like a servant. But that is intentional. It is social engineering. Lower the self-value as much as possible and call it good. Call it, yeah, praise that. It's very intentional. The vampire parasites, and I mean vampire very literally, that run this show know exactly what they're doing. They are creating a world that reflects their own inner nightmares. They are like that, and they've made the world like that. So the creative force of our world, the human female, the ones with the greatest power, have been corrupted beyond belief. Late stage feminization, feminism. We can go into this. Would become a very long video. The state of the females in this world. It all comes down to self-value. Me and that friend, we had a few talks after that first catch-up. And eventually she started to see how twisted her worldview had become, so that she was needing to inject and spend a lot of money injecting chemicals into her body, poisonous chemicals. There is nothing safe about these chemicals. Not a single thing safe about them. She was able to see that that is not mentally sound. Those decisions are of someone who is not mentally healthy. And how did she see that? I hope she stuck with it. I haven't seen her since. If she went back to scrolling Instagram and eating junk mind food, literal mind feces, if she went back to being feral like that, eating mind feces, then we all know the result of that. But if she stuck to what she realized, then she perhaps is still on an upward curve now. But the only way she was able to see that is we had conversations about self-value. And I really made extra effort to pump up her self-value, not by flattery, but by giving her facts about herself. Facts that we, because we live inside ourselves, we live with our loneliness, we live with our toxicities, we live with our bad habits, we live with the inner critical voice. We know ourselves, we know our weaknesses so well that we forget to count our strengths, to be in touch with our strengths, to see how far we've come in life, to praise ourselves, to like ourselves. And so what happens that this world, which is at this state now, it's the garbage of existence. Human living now is the utter, it's the real refuse, the garbage dump. Civilization now around the world has now become a garbage dump. You have got to get about raising your self-value. You have to do this. If you do not raise your self-value, you will get a lot of experiences in terms of quantity, but they will all be horrible. None of them will be good experiences, either immediately or in the end. If you raise your self-value, you start realizing your own value. And I will break all this down in another video. Self-value has 2 different dimensions. And we'll break all that down in another video, right? But you have got to go, you have to do this. It'll take you a minimum this day and age, with humans living as garbage pickers in a garbage dump, basically. I'm proud of it, feeling like I'm beautiful. It's a truly sorry state of affairs. The self-value has plummeted to a point where it has become mental illness, right? So it will take you minimum 10 years, minimum 10 years of everyday work without fail. And initially you will find that you miss 1 day of working on your self-value and you will revert to 7 days of loss. You will see this. This is the one thing that will not come to you easily. It's a word it's a concept one can talk about easily, but to become someone who you have self-value, you can see it at any given time in your life, you can see it at any point in the day. You can call upon it when you are with others, without others, it doesn't matter what you're doing, what you're not doing. It's a steady state of affairs inside you. It's your permanent stance in life. That will take you at least 10 years. Work on it every day. What will happen is that the quantity of experiences in your life will lessen, which is very, very good. Less distractions. But the quality of life experiences will increase. You'll have less, but what you will have will be absolutely amazing. All right, on that note, let me know if you are already working on self-value. How do you go about doing that? And I shall meet you in the next video. I'll make it about self-value itself. Walk in freedom. Farewell.